Hi, I am Linda Perfilli, and I am doing my presentation on Erich Fromm. Fromm was born March 23rd, 1900 in Frankfurt, Germany. He was an only child, and both his parents were Orthodox Jews. His father was the son of a rabbi, and he was the grandson of two rabbis. His mother was the niece of a well-known scholar. He claims to have very neurotic parents. He viewed his father as being moody, unpredictable, temperamental, emotional, and having sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior. And his mother was prone to depression. He claims to have grown up in two different worlds, one being a traditional Orthodox Jewish world, which means he was raised to believe in God, observing the Sabbath, eating kosher, and strong family traditions, which contradicted greatly with the world of modern capitalistic world. According to Google, that is where the new elites and the old elites concerned with maximizing their wealth secures a political system that serves and protects their interests, leading to a development of a wage-earning class. So basically, he saw individuals in this new modern capitalistic world making big financial decisions in the interest of the one with the money so they could make more money, essentially forgetting the individual. I think it's interesting to compare the worlds he grew up in. One was very traditional, even having do's and don'ts on what to eat, also believing that decisions made in this world would follow him to the next, contrasted greatly with the modern capitalistic world, where he saw this selflessness and greed of one impact the lives of those with less financial means, which ultimately equated in less voice. A couple of other things that impacted Fromm greatly as a youth was the war that was going on in World War I. He wondered why normally friendly and rational people reverted to such senseless killing. It made no sense to him. He was also greatly affected by the suicide of a beautiful young girl who left a note saying she wanted to be buried with her father, who died suddenly. He couldn't understand why when she was such a talented artist and a beautiful young girl, she would choose death over life. So some of the relationships that Fromm had from the beginning were in 1926 he married Frieda Richman, and she was more than 10 years his senior. She was seen more as a mother figure and even looked like his mother. In 1930, they separated and divorced later. And after that, he was in a relationship with Karen Horney, who was 15 years older than Fromm. She was a strong mother figure, and they were lovers until 1943. Then he married Henny Gerland in 1944. She was 2 years younger than him. Henny died in 1952. In 1953, he married Annis Freeman, who was 2 years older than him. Fromm enjoyed having older women dote on him. I think it's important to note he was married 3 times and in a total of 4 serious relationships in a time frame where that wasn't very common at all. So some of the basic assumptions that Fromm had was the individual personality can be understood only in the light of human history. Humans, unlike other animals, have been torn away from their prehistoric union with nature. They are left with no powerful instincts to adapt to a changing world. Also, humans have the ability to reason, which Fromm calls the human dilemma, or a blessing and a curse. Humans are now separate from nature and are aware that they are separate, isolated beings. For instance, reasoning helps people to survive, but now that they are faced with trying to figure out and make sense of problems that they have no solution to. For instance, humans understand life and death. Humans try to make sense of death. And if there is a life after death, either way it does not change the fact that humans' lives will end with death. The second is self-realization or fulfillment of one's own potential. Some people believe that their self-realization is the crowning achievement of humanity, while others believe they will continue to develop and progress after death. And the third, people are ultimately alone. However, humans do not do well in isolation. Humans see themselves as separate individuals. However, they believe their true happiness depends on connecting with other humans. So Fromm thinks that there are 5 needs that humans have. They However, they will never solve their human dilemmas or reasoning by satisfying their animalistic needs, such as hunger, sex, and safety. So he thinks there are 5 needs that humans have that they are trying to find answers to, and to also find answers to their existence. Believing that there is more to life than just fulfilling these animalistic instincts. So Fromm says that in order for people to live to their full potential and not go insane, there's an important difference between mentally healthy individuals and neurotic or insane ones. That is, that healthy people find answers to their existence, answers that are complete or correspond to their total human needs. So where is the balance? So the 5 needs that Fromm says that humans have that we need to strike a balance on are, the first one is relatedness, which is a drive for union with another person or group. He believes a person can do this one of 3 ways, either submission, power, or love. With the first one of submission, they conform to someone or something bigger than himself, or submissive, where a person seeks out a relationship with a domineering person. The power seekers welcome submissive partners. This actually is not a healthy relationship due to the fact that there is a lack of inner strength and self-reliance that would require freedom and independence. The third one is for love, and Fromm believes that love is the only way a person can become united with the world and while so doing reach individuality and integrity. He says that to truly love a person, there is a union with that person. However, both people keep their own identity and integrity as one's own self. There is a respect for each other, accepting the other person for who they are and not trying to change them. People can respect others only if they have knowledge of them. To know others means to see them from their point of view. Thus, care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge are all intertwined in a love relationship. So that's relatedness, either by submission, power, or love. The next one is transcendence, which Fromm defines as the urge to rise above the passive and accidental existence into the realm of purposefulness and freedom. He says humans either create life or destroy it. Humans differ from animals in their knowledge they have as creators of other humans. However, they can create other things as well, like art, ideas, and laws. Humans can also destroy, Fromm says, and humans are the only species to kill for reasons other than their survival. Humans can transcend life by destroying it, then rising above the victim. So transcendence is creating or destroying, and the urge to rise above a passive or accidental existence. The next one is rootedness, the need to establish roots or to feel at home again in the world. When humans evolved, they lost their home in the natural world. With the realization of lost roots came isolation and helplessness. There is a productive and non-productive way to feel rooted. They can either become active and creative as they relate to the world. This reestablishes a feeling of belonging and rootedness. There is also a non-productive way to achieve rootedness, that is to fixate and refuse to move forward from the security provided by the mother. These are the ones that are afraid to take the next step. They are dependent and insecure. That's rootedness, the need to establish roots. The sense of identity is next, the capacity to be aware of ourselves as a separate entity. We need to be able to answer the question, who am I? And it's very common for people to associate their identity with their group. Now, a few people can have a true sense of I with economic and political freedom. However, even now people associate themselves with the nation, religion, occupation, or social group they are a part of. Fromm believes there is a healthy way to accomplish this. They realize they do not have to conform to a herd or surrender their freedom and individuality. They simply possess an authentic sense of identity. Neurotic people try to attach themselves to powerful people or a political party. That sense of identity. The last human need is frame of orientation, being split off from nature. Humans, according to Fromm, need a roadmap or something to give them directions or alignment to make it through the world. People who have a positive frame of orientation can make sense of events and experiences. Those with a shaky frame of orientation will try to put events in and experiences in order, but repeatedly miss the big picture. Something that I found interesting was that with each of the human needs, there was a positive and a healthy way or a negative way to get that need filled. And not only would filling that need in a positive or negative way impact the individual, it will also impact society. For instance, with relatedness, love would be the positive, showing care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge for the other person. Negative would be submissive individuals that find themselves with a domineering partner. This relationship blocks growth toward integrity and psychological health. With transcendence, creating with art, religions, ideas, and laws, and caring about what we create, would be the positive. Destruction, even to the point of ending someone else's life, would be negative. Rootedness, the positive, would be related to the world and become whole or integrated. Negative would be avoidance of moving beyond the protective security of the mother figure. Then with sense of identity, positive would be those who feel they don't need to give up their sense of their self to the herd. Negative would be attaching themselves to powerful people or political parties. And frame of orientation, these people make sense of events. That is the positive. And the negative would be they miss the big picture. So the interesting thing to me was, either way, with positive or negative ways of filling the human need, it gets the job done. However, with the action of choosing which way we are going to get the need met, not only impacts the individual, it also impacts the community. So Fromm believes that there is a burden of freedom. So humans realize they have been torn from nature, however, they are still part of the natural world. So they're going through the same limitations as other animals. And for this reason, Fromm calls humans the freaks of the universe. This is the root of the feelings of loneliness, isolation, and also the way humans reunite with the world. This is viewed as a blessing and a curse. We can see either freedom or the root of basic anxiety. So Fromm has some mechanisms of escape. There are 3 ways. The first one is through authoritarianism. When a person gives up their independence and attaches to someone or something that can give them the strength they are lacking. This can come in several forms. None are healthy to a relationship or the overall well-being of the individuals. The second is destructiveness. This differs from authoritarianism in that with destructiveness, the person wants to do away with other people, not having any form of relationship with them. And conformity, where the people don't want to be alone, so they will give up their individuality and become what they think others want them to be. These people become more or less robots. They take care of the needs of others, rarely giving their own opinion. Essentially, they adopt a self that is not authentic. There is a cycle of conformity and feeling more powerless. Then the more powerless they feel, the more they conform. Fromm does believe that there are positive freedoms also, though. So a person can be free and not alone, critical and yet not filled with doubts, independent and yet an integral part of mankind. A person with positive freedom expresses themselves by being free, independent, spontaneous, just like what is seen when children play. And also we can see this in artists who have little or no tendency to conform to what others want them to be. They don't conform to conventional rules, and they do follow their heart. They like to color outside the lines. We all know people like this. They stand out. Fromm believes that love and work go hand in hand with positive freedom. He says positive freedom represents a successful solution to the human dilemma of being part of the natural world and yet separate from it. Through positive freedom and spontaneous activity, people overcome the terror of aloneness, achieve union with the world, and maintain individuality. So he believes that there are also some character orientations. A person's pretty much the way that they relate to people and things is what makes them unique. So Fromm believes that as humans, if we had to stop and think about every decision we were obligated to make, we would be very inconsistent. However, when we act according to our character traits, humans both become efficient and consistent. So he does believe that there are non-productive orientations, and those are receiving passively, exploiting or taking things through force, hoarding, and marketing or exchanging things. And so with receiving things passively, he believes that these people are more concerned with receiving than giving. They want others to give them love, ideas, and gifts. And the negative qualities of receptive people are being passive, submissive, and they lack self-confidence. The positive traits are loyalty, acceptance, and trust. The next one is exploiting or taking things with force. They take whatever they want. They choose to steal rather than to create their own. Even their opinions are stolen. The negative is they're egocentric, conceited, arrogant, and seducing. The positive traits are they are impulsive, proud, charming, and self-confident. The third one is hoarding, where these people save what they already have. They hold on to everything, money, feelings, and thoughts. They even want relationships to stay the same, allowing no room for growth or change. The negative is they are rigid, sterile, obstinate, compulsive, and they lack creativity. The positive is their orderliness, cleanliness, and punctuality. The fourth one is marketing and relaying their self-value on how well they can sell themselves. They see themselves as a chameleon, always changing to meet the needs of others. The negative things that come with this are aimlessness, opportunism, inconsistency, and wastefulness. And the positive are changeability, open-mindedness, adaptability, and generosity. So there is productive orientation. Those were all the negatives. And the productive orientation can be found in people who value working, loving, and reasoning. Fromm states that healthy people value work as a way to express themselves, to be creative with life's necessities, not to keep up with the Joneses or to exploit others or to gather useless material possessions. They are not lazy or overactive, but as a healthy way to express themselves. The people who are productive are trying to unite with the world and others while retaining uniqueness and individuality. With work with positive orientations, Fromm believes a healthy way to express oneself is finding joy in doing everyday tasks. With this, also expressing creativity. And then the next one is love. And the four characteristics that were talked about earlier are care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. And Fromm believes that there is a thing called biophilia, which is a passionate love of life and all that is living. And he considered everything that was living, animals, plants, even ideas, were living to him, and cultures. He was concerned with the development of themselves and others, and the love of others and self-love are inseparable, and self-love must come first. So I want to say that again. These people are the ones who are concerned with development of themselves and others. He says, love of others and love of self are inseparable. Self-love must come first. Then he says, thinking and reasoning. Productive thinking goes hand in hand with productive work. And with productive work, and love is motivated by a concerned interest in another person or object, and also accepting others the way they are, not as they wish them to be. Also to know and accept themselves and not fall into self-deception. Healthy people have a balance of receiving things from others, taking things from others, preserving things, exchanging things, working and giving, and love, and think productively. So Fromm believes that if you don't have these needs met in a healthy way, it can lead to personality disorders. And he says that healthy people are able to love, work, think, etc. So the flip side of that is unhealthy people have missed the mark in these areas, especially love. Fromm feels there are personality disorders that come with these deficiencies. Necrophilia is to love death, possibly desiring sexual contact with a corpse. They love bloodshed, destruction, terror, and torture. Their lifestyle is aggressive, dark, and destructive. and malignant narcissism. So he does say even healthy people have a small level of narcissism. However, the difference is with a narcissist, they highly value their belongings and their ideas, and they see theirs as having more value, and seeing others' belongings and ideas of having no value. This disorder can lead to other disorders. They ultimately think they are the gift of the universe. They simply believe that they are better than others, and therefore have no need to achieve anything. And if they do make an effort, these people with malignant narcissism, if they do make an effort and someone questions it, the person responds with anger and rage, trying to destroy their critics. It is actually a self-destructive cycle that can end in depression for the malignant narcissistic person. The last one is incestuous symbiosis, an extreme dependence on a mother figure, where identity is lost as they try to become one with the woman that dotes on them, constantly living in fear that their relationship is threatened. Hitler exhibited all of these personalities. So related research is one thing that is very well supported in the norms of today goes along with Fromm's approach on how we market ourselves, especially on social media, to show our most favorable experiences and selfies, and then kind of holding ourselves to some personal standard of how many likes or dislikes we get. Fromm also believed that people need to know themselves. We cannot know another person or thing until we know ourselves, where Freud believed that everything had a sexual origin. Karl Marx had similar views about being alienated from nature and therefore from ourselves, which Marx thought was the most destructive feature of capitalism. Karen Horney was more in depth with her narcissistic views and her thoughts of neurotic claims. There was a study done with 72 participants, and the study concluded that the more a person feels his or her values were different from society in general, the more likely that person was to feel estrangement or did not fit in. And to add to that, the person felt they were not normal and were different. The more people reported feeling distant from those around them and in their community, the more likely the person was to feel isolated. The more a person felt estranged from society, the more anxious and depressed they were. This can be a vicious cycle and can be detrimental to a person's well-being. The good news is that these feelings can be lessened if the person can find a group of people who share their same beliefs, even if those beliefs are not supported by society in general. So, my question is, Fromm believes that humans are the freaks of the universe. He believes that material wealth created by capitalism has created so much freedom that we do not know what to do with ourselves. He believes that anxiety and isolation ironically result from too much freedom. So my question is, do you agree or disagree that anxiety and isolation are the result of too much freedom? Give examples that support your decision. Thank you.